me just wipe this shrimp juice off my fingertips. Shrimp juice.
Not my shrimp juice.
This is not my shrimp juice.
That'd be disgusting.
That just made my spit thicker. Just thinking about it. Bone apple tits, everybody. Fall is upon us, which means it's cuffing season, which means a lot of you are looking for ideas for date nights, and some of you don't want to leave the house. By some of you, I mean pretty much all men. So I have the perfect recipe for you. It is some blackened salmon with some blackened shrimp over some delicious creamy grits. And just FYI, if you want to, you can serve this over rice and mashed potatoes. I'm using grits because I got a little carried away shopping on Amazon one day, and I have like 8 bags of grits that I have to use. So we're doing grits today. Plus, I like grits. First thing we want to do is just get our seasoning on our salmon and our shrimp. I've just got a 6-ounce salmon here, and I just have like half a pound of shrimp that I had left over from another cook. And so I have created my own seasoning blend. There are a lot of variations to blackening seasoning, but for the most part, this is just salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder. I put some Old Bay in there, some oregano, some thyme, a little bit of Cajun seasoning, and then I was going to use chili powder, but I ran out, so I just used Chipotle chili powder. Still good, might make it more interesting. So we are just going to give this first just a little olive oil, and we'll kind of do the same thing for our shrimp. I'm just kind of pat that on there, because I mean the seasoning is going to stick pretty good itself, but nothing wrong with just adding a little bit of that flavor. I'm going to coat both sides, but we'll get this first one out the way, and I am just giving this a generous coating of our blackening season. And I believe some places do sell blackening season already pre-made, but if you've got all these spices already on hand, why not? We'll just give that just a good little pat. And the key that's really going to help this recipe come out the way it should is having a good cast iron skillet. So for those of you who've been holding out on getting that cast iron skillet, go ahead, just copy one. You're going to have so many uses for it. They last forever. I feel like everyone who ever inherits anything from the grandparents, at least one item is a cast iron something. So they are pretty durable. Just do not put them in the dishwasher, okay? Hand clean them. Don't ever put cast iron in the dishwasher. So we're gonna flip this over, and all of our shrimp as well, in generous amounts of seasoning. For those of you wondering how much of each seasoning I use, equal parts. I think everything I put in here was just like a half teaspoon. We're gonna let our seasoning kind of just chill and hang out on our meat while we make our Cajun cream sauce, which is really gonna bring all these elements together. Today's poor choice is just some Pinot Grigio, which we will be cooking with. And it goes fantastic with this meal, and hey, it's date night. I've got my pan over here on some medium heat. I have got 4 tablespoons of just some regular butter. Let it melt just a little bit, because we're gonna start creating our Cajun sauce.
Look at that buttering.
Whenever I'm editing this and I hear you talking, it's like, it always reminds me of like those really cheesy porns from the early 2000s where like the cameraman like, oh my goodness. Yeah. You're just talking behind the camera. I have got some Better Than Bouillon, a roasted chicken base. I'm just gonna take just a spoonful of it, drop that in there. And I'm just giving everything a stir. And I wanna make sure nothing's sticking to the bottom. And now what I wanna add is just some garlic paste. I'm gonna do about a tablespoon worth of garlic paste. Maybe just a little bit more than a tablespoon, it's all good. So once we've got that garlic paste in there, we've kind of got it worked out. What I'm gonna do is I've taken now just a shallot, 1 shallot. If you don't have a shallot, you can use a red onion. Just gonna put that in there. And I just wanna soften these a little bit. Now what I wanna do is just add a little bit of flour. So we're kind of creating a roux here. Usually your butter to flour ratio is the same. So we did 4 tablespoons of butter, we would do 4 tablespoons of flour, but I don't want this to get too thick. So I'm gonna go with just about a tablespoon and a half of flour. We're just gonna stir that up until the flour is cooked out. And now I am going to use, I'd say maybe about a 1/4 cup of just some Pinot Grigio, just to deglaze the pear. And we're gonna cook that alcohol out. And I'm gonna sip some. It's the best part about cooking. Never use a wine in your recipes that you won't drink yourself. Now I'm gonna take some chicken broth. And the way I'm gonna kind of do this is I just wanna get like the bottom of the pan filled. So this is probably gonna end up being about maybe a half cup or so. See how the entire pan is filled up with liquid? That's what I was looking for. And I just want to get this all stirred together. Next, I'm going to add some heavy cream. Not too much. I'd say this is maybe about a 1/4 cup of heavy cream. And the cream is going to give it a good body. Now I just have a little bit of parsley, fresh parsley, flat leaf. I'd say this is about a tablespoon. Just going to drop that in there, add some freshness and some color. And I'm just checking the sauce consistency. See, that's a pretty good consistency. I may need to add a little bit more liquid once I add some other stuff in later, but we'll kind of play it by ear. Next, I've just got some Cajun seasoning. And I am gonna kind of start out with maybe a tablespoon's worth of Cajun seasoning, and we'll adjust it from there. This is gonna give us our flavor and our color. Add the juice of just half a lemon, brightens it up, and this lemon and Cajun and seafood all goes together. Yeah, that smells good. Because in a second, we're gonna taste this and see, does it need anything else? And we still got some cheese to add to this. Yeah, that's good. Oh, that lemon, man, that shit just, it brightens it up, and I was like, what does that mean to brighten it up, man? Once you taste it before you put the lemon juice in there and then taste it afterwards, and you're like, yeah, that does feel bright. I am feeling pretty good. I like that consistency. So sauce feels good there. I'm gonna take it off the heat, and then we're gonna add our Parmesan cheese. I'd say this is about anywhere between a 1/4 cup or a half cup. Because again, I'm gonna stir it, I'm gonna taste it, see does it need more. All right, let's give her a taste. That's the Cajun sauce right there. If you run into a problem where like you have, it's a little bit thicker than you want it to, a little bit more chicken broth will help thin it out. So this sauce is done for now. I'm gonna put a lid on it, and then we will warm it back up once we're done with everything else. All right, we've got a couple things going on here at the same time. We've got our oven preheated to 400 degrees because we're gonna finish our salmon in the oven, which by the way, our salmon has continued to sit there and soak in the seasonings. I've got 3 cups of chicken broth here for these corn grits, and I'm just gonna go ahead and pour those in. And these should cook fairly quickly. So now that I've got it boiling, what I'm gonna do is now turn that down to low and just let them simmer. Cast iron, I've got it nice and hot. I've got some grapeseed oil here, but you can use vegetable oil or any just type of high heat oil. And I'm gonna give it a good, it's not open because I used the previous thing. Give the pan a good generous coating, because we're gonna do a couple of things in this. And I've just got this over a high heat. First thing we're gonna do is take our salmon and we're gonna lay it away from us. So that way it doesn't splatter. If you do it towards you and that's oil splatters, you're in a lot of trouble. We're gonna give that about, 60 seconds or so. I'm going to take just the other half of our lemon, and I'm actually going to just put it over here because I want that lemon flavor to kind of infuse into this oil. And don't forget our grits. Give them a stir. You don't want them sticking to the bottom. We're gonna flip this over. Now this next side I'm gonna let cook a lot longer because that's gonna actually be our presentation side. And now I'm gonna put our shrimp in here. These aren't gonna take long at all. So do not go that far. Another 4 tablespoons of butter. We're gonna baste this thing, baby. I'm gonna put it right here in the middle. Let that melt down, as well as a sprig of thyme. Like I said, shrimp cook extremely fast. The smaller they are, the faster they are going to cook. Especially in cast iron, they do not need long at all. What I want to do is just take kind of this liquid that we have here, and I just want to baste everything. So I'm leaning this towards me while it's still over the fire, and I'm basting. This is why I couldn't do this over the induction top, because the second I would have lifted this up, it would have turned off. So let's get our shrimp off, and I'm just gonna put them on a plate for now, any type of plate.
A paper plate.
A paper plate, yeah.
This is a high quality set and shoot right here, John.
We're gonna turn this heat off, and our grits are also done as well. And now what I want to do is take this entire skillet, everything's still there except for the shrimp, and we're gonna finish this in the oven. 400 degrees for about 7 minutes. What I do want to do is add our smoked gouda. I've got about a cup worth of smoked gouda, and this is off the heat. I've also got 4 tablespoons of some butter. This is salted butter. And I'm gonna throw that in here as well. Now, it's very possible that I still may need to thin this out just a tad because it may get a little too thick once I put the butter and the cheese in here. But again, I can add some heavy cream and it's all taken care of. This is not a healthy meal, but hey, it's cuffing season. You wanna be a warm body. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of cream since I had some left over, just a tad. And you can also use chicken broth. I'm just trying to, you know, use what I have. And the reason why I want this thick is because when I did the experiment with this recipe to kind of write things down, my fish just sunk to the bottom of the grits. So a thicker grits will support the fish. So let's get this mixed up and then it will be time to plate. The moment I have been waiting for. Of course, if you're doing this for date night, obviously you're gonna make 2 fillets and not just 1, but I cannot wait. This will definitely, unfortunately, put you guys to sleep. Yeah. Hey, no. No, stop ruining my date. This is me time. This is so fucking good. This is really good. Nothing about this works in a diet. It's just, it will just impress the hell out of your date. But listen, you can swap a lot of things in and out of this. You could do chicken. You can do blackened chicken. You can throw some sausage in here. You know I love bacon. Put some bacon, little drops of parsley on here if you want. Like, there's so many possibilities with this. But this is really freaking good. Enjoy your evening, whether it's you by yourself or you with a significant other or you with many others.